Welcome to the Muscle Building Mastery podcast, where guys that want to build muscle come to learn how to do it properly. We understand that there's more to building muscle than mindlessly throwing weights around and chugging mass gainer shakes. We're not interested in quick fixes or anabolic assistance. We're interested in mastering the art, science and skill set required to stack on real muscle and strength. My name's Andy Clements, and for the last 12 years I've devoted my life to figuring out how guys like us who don't have amazing genetics, don't have 5 hours a day to spend in the gym, and don't want to take steroids as a shortcut can build insane amounts of muscle and strength in weeks and months, not years and decades. This podcast is the result of all the lessons I've learned along the way, and it will give you the blueprint to building more muscle in less time. To get you started, head to www.musclebuildingmastery.net to download your free 6-week workout plan.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Andy Clements. Welcome back to another episode of the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. This, I think, is episode 52 today, so we are well up there now. And what I want to talk about today is a little bit different. It's a little bit different aspect. It still is about muscle building, as every podcast is on here. But it's a little bit of a different direction today that I want to go in, and it's inspired by something that happened to me yesterday. So as you can tell by the name of this podcast, this is going to be all about dealing with criticism and judgment, okay? Because this is something that we have got to deal with pretty much every day, or at least most of the time, as people, right? We've got to deal with a certain degree of criticism and judgment, and the more that you put yourself out there and the more that you try and improve yourself, the more criticism and judgment that you're going to receive. Now, the thing that happened to me yesterday that sort of inspired this podcast was that about a week ago, I started running some ads on Facebook to promote my new course, Training Mastery. Now, I don't do this kind of thing often. I don't try and throw money at Facebook, full stop, really. But I was trying to reach some more people and let them know about how this really awesome course that I've set up could help them to build more muscle, especially if they were a beginner, which it can. It's the best thing I've certainly ever done. And it's definitely kind of like the definitive guide as a beginner to set up your training for muscle building. So this advert was just kind of a video of my face. I was wearing a t-shirt, kind of relaxed, just at home, and just like maybe like 60 seconds of me just talking a little bit about the course and saying if you're interested to go check it out. It wasn't, a hard sell or anything like that. It was just a video of me wearing a t-shirt talking about the course. That was all it was, okay? And I left it for maybe a week, and I don't go on Facebook very often because I don't particularly like Facebook. I mean, it's very, very easy for people to hide behind screens on Facebook and play the big man, isn't it? But I went on Facebook to sort of see how this advert was doing, and the comments that I got on this post were just abusive as hell. There were people telling me I was a creep, telling me I was a weirdo, telling me I had no muscle, telling me I had no right to talk about muscle building. It was just horrendous comment after horrendous comment. And like my initial reaction, because I'm quite sort of, I don't want to say sensitive, but I'm definitely quite introverted and not a big fan of confrontation, is my initial reaction was I just wanted to like crawl in a hole and die. I just wanted to like sort of take all my adverts down, close my business, stop the podcast, cave into all the pressure that I was receiving. And I started to sort of believe maybe I don't have a right to talk about muscle building because I'm not, a professional bodybuilder. I'm not a world champion athlete. I'm just a normal guy who built a bit of muscle and helped some other people to do the same. And maybe that I started to believe maybe I don't have a right to talk about this stuff, and it almost stopped me in my tracks. It almost stopped me from recording this podcast that so many people have given me feedback on, saying it's helped them so much with their training. It almost stopped me from telling people about the amazing course that I've got out that people are using to help them build muscle. It almost stopped me taking on clients and helping them build muscle one-on-one. It almost stopped me doing all of it. And, if I didn't come to this sort of realization that the fact is that I'm doing this to help people that are stuck. I'm doing this to help people that are beginners and they don't know where to start with their muscle building journey. I'm doing this to help people who are like me 12 years ago, who were just wandering around the gym, wondering where the hell they needed to even start if they wanted to build muscle. And I realised that actually, after 12 years of studying and experimenting and working hard, as a natural, not taking anything, sort of extracurricular, just doing my thing consistently and coaching other people as well for 8 years, I'm more than qualified to help people like this. I'm more than qualified to help you if you're a beginner. I'm more than qualified to help you if you are struggling to get started with your muscle building goals. Okay, I'm not trying to make this like a brag podcast. It's not a brag podcast whatsoever. Like, I understand that I'm not the biggest guy in the world. Right? I understand I'm not a professional bodybuilder. But, I have been doing this for 12 years. I've been coaching people for 8 years. I have helped people to win bodybuilding shows, powerlifting meets, strongman contests, excel in their football and rugby careers, fill out the t-shirts, boost confidence, save their marriages, and even set better examples for the kids. Just because I don't have the raw muscle that a prime Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't take away from any of that. And that's the realization that I had, And I also thought, the realization that I had secondly was, no matter who you are in life, if you get off the sidelines and decide to do something in this world, people will try and take you down. And the reason people will try and take you down is because they feel bad about themselves, that they didn't have the balls to go and do something about it themselves, to go and do something in the world themselves. They feel bad about themselves. That's the reason people try and tear you down. And it's easy to take it personally, but this is the reality, and this is the point that I want you to take away from this podcast, because the point of this podcast isn't to start complaining about my problems or to start to purely just tell you the story of the comments on my Facebook ads. It's nothing to do with that. The reason is it's just quite relevant, because I want you to take this away from this podcast and help you with your muscle building goals. People will try to take you down when you start making changes to your life and trying to stack on more muscle. And if you started doing this already, you may have already seen some signs of this in your life, right? Now, your goals, if it's muscle building, even if it's fat loss, right? Your goals will require you to make certain sacrifices at times that aren't the social norms, maybe even among your family or your friendship groups. They're not what people normally do, right? Like, if you go to a restaurant and you order steak and eggs, for example, because you're trying to eat foods that are more congruent with your muscle building goals, then everybody else who's just ordered pizza and beers are going to sort of feel bad about their choices at that point, and they might not like it, and they might start trying to make themselves feel better about their choices by giving you stick, by making sly comments and giving you social pressure to join in and saying, oh, why are you having that, why don't you have this, that kind of thing, and starting to make fun of you. But that's okay. You can just sort of laugh along with that. You don't have to cave into that social pressure. Walking into a free weights area as a beginner, being very obviously unsure of what you're doing, may get you some sideways looks. You may get people who judge you because you're a beginner and you aren't as advanced as they are, in quotation marks. But that's fine. You don't have to pay any attention to that, because everybody starts somewhere. And you don't have to cave into any kind of social pressure. If someone makes fun of the way you look, if someone throws abuse at you or tries to make you feel bad for trying to improve your life, it kind of says more about them than it does about you. Do you know what I mean? It says a lot more about them than it does about you. Because they are just trying to make themselves feel better. And abuse and criticism and judgment and comments are something that we all have to deal with, and this is not about me. I just wanted to use my story to sort of give you an insight that everybody will get stick. I get stick. I have a podcast and a business called Muscle Building Mastery, and I have a lot of people who throw abuse at me and tell me that I have no right to talk about muscle building. I have no right to talk about bodybuilding or anything like that, because I am not a professional bodybuilder, and I don't want to be a professional bodybuilder, to be perfectly honest. I enjoy my life as it is, but I also enjoy muscle building. I've also spent a long time studying muscle building, and this is what I do for a living. This is my thing, and I want to help you as beginners and as people who are struggling with their muscle building goals right now to improve their the amount of muscle on their body and your life as a whole. And just remember this, it's always easier for someone to sit on the sidelines and hurl abuse than it is for them to actually get on the field and make something happen. If you think about like a sports analogy, it's easier for people to sit in the stands and throw abuse at the players than it is for the players to get on the field. But the players on the field are the people who make things happen. The players on the field are the whole reason anybody is even there. So if you are, feeling a little bit anxious, you're feeling a little bit apprehensive about, going into the gym maybe for the first time, because you're worried about what people might think of you, what people might comment, what people might say, either to your face or to each other. You're worried about, making a big change to your diet or your lifestyle, or whatever it is that you're worried about. It might not even be related to muscle building, but whatever it is, then if it's going to improve your life, just do it, man. Like, don't let other people's opinions dictate your actions, because there's always, doesn't matter what choice you make in life, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like what you're doing. And the only surefire way to avoid anybody criticizing you is to do absolutely nothing. And that is a quote from somebody, I don't know who it is. It's a quote from somebody very, very clever, a lot cleverer than me and a lot more famous than me, but it's absolutely true. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for today, but I hope that kind of makes sense. Basically, the take-home point is go and make something happen in your life and don't worry about anybody fucking says, because fuck them, basically. So yeah, that's all I've really got for today, guys. If you are interested in the Training Mastery course that helps you to build your muscle and build your training from the ground up, head over to www.trainingmastery.net/register-interest, I think. So head over to trainingmastery.net/register-interest, and you can check out the Training Mastery course there. Other than that, I will speak to you next time on the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
If you're ready to stop wasting time in the gym and start mastering the skill of muscle building, go check out www.musclebuildingmastery.net to download your free 6-week muscle building workout plan. I have specifically formulated this workout plan to take you through the 3 stages of mastering your body, layering on a more advanced training methodology each week as you progress. That means that regardless of where you are with your training right now, this plan will push you forward and help you stack on more muscle and strength in just 6 weeks. So head to www.musclebuildingmastery.net now to grab your free 6-week workout plan.